First, we'd like to acknowledge the traditional custodians of this land and pay our respects to elders past, present, and future, for they hold the memories, the traditions, the culture, and hopes of Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander Australians. Today, we're looking at Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander youth mental health in Australia. Suicide rates for Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander young people are alarmingly higher than non-Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander young people at a national level, and the gap is most severe for Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander males. From 2011 to 2015, suicide was the leading cause of death for Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people aged between 15 and 34 years. Moreover, Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander communities experience high incidence of racial discrimination. So, what is the cause of this huge difference? In 2011, from the reports of Australian Institute of Health and Welfare, has found that around one-third of Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander young people have reported high or very high levels of psychological distress, and more than twice the proportion of non-Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander young people. In 2016, from Mission Australia Youth Mental Health Reports, over 3 in 10 among 21,000 Indigenous youth met the criteria for probable serious mental illness, which is much higher compared to 22% of non-Indigenous youth. Greater proportions of Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander respondents compared to their counterparts indicated being highly concerned about suicide, discrimination, drugs, alcohol, and gambling. Also, the reports from the Federal Department of Health in 2013 indicate that dispossession, racism, trauma, disadvantage, disconnection from culture and country, as well as disengagement from education and employment are all underlying contributors to low levels of social and emotional well-being among young Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander, which can in turn contribute to substance use and suicide. In terms of the source of help, greater proportion of Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander youth with a probable serious mental illness compared to their non-Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander counterparts indicated they would go to telephone hotline, community agencies, online counseling websites, or magazines for help.
According to the United Nations, Indigenous people have the right to their traditional medicines and to maintain their health practice, and also they have the right to access to all social and health services without any discrimination. States shall take all necessary steps to uphold Indigenous right to the enjoyment of the highest attainable standard of physical and mental health.
For the pain, suffering, and hurt of these stolen generations, their descendants, and for their families left behind, we say sorry.
The national apology to the stolen generation's survivors cannot be underestimated in the healing process. This is a landmark event that has great significance for the social and emotional well-being of all Aboriginal people. Many policies and legislations related to Indigenous people are initiated by the national apology. The Closing the Gap strategy was developed by Australian governments following their signing of the Close the Gap Statement of Intent from 2008 onwards. There are 6 long-term targets aimed to achieve health equality by 2030. These 2 agreements are most relevant to mental health and social and emotional well-being. According to the 10-year review, there was no effective health equality plan in place until 2015, and this plan has never been funded. Therefore, the committee urged that the National Strategic Framework for Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people's mental health and social and emotional well-being 2017 to 2023 needs an implementation plan and funding as appropriate. These 2 strategy and health plan are guided by a holistic view of health that encompasses mental, physical, cultural, and spiritual health to build community, family, and individual resilience and restore social and emotional well-being. As we can see, policymakers recognize the need to address the issue of mental health with acknowledging the holistic concept of Aboriginal health. However, at the moment, there is no mental health strategy or plan specifically for Aboriginal youth.
While many non-Indigenous models of mental health try to locate the source and treatments for disorder within the individual, in Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander peoples, the determinants of well-being are known to be more community-based and inclusive of the Bulletin test. According to the Black Dog report, 16.4% of Aboriginal young people with mental illnesses would wish to seek community agency for help, compared with only 9.7% of non-Aboriginal young people. Access-based community development approach would be one of the best approaches to highlight the importance of Aboriginal young's mental health issue. It is not only a recovery-oriented, also it is a modern way of working with communities that focuses on the community's strength and assets rather than their problems. The objective is to examine the value of using a participatory, strength-based approach to engage Indigenous young and their communities in developing mental health promotions, awareness, communications, and actions. The characteristic of this ABCD approach will be first, young individual and experts and resources. There should be no involvement of banking approach. No one can be their teachers. They are their own experts of their own experience and knowledge. It will provide them empowerment and a voice, which they can hold their authority and power to make decisions. Also, it can help the young individuals to regain a sense of control and mastery of their own lives. Throughout the processes, they can recognize their strengths, which have helped them to improve their self-esteem, confidence, resilience, and build capacity. The second characteristic is community control and empowerment. It should be granted in community, owned by the community, based on the community needs, and accountable to the community. Also, it is a participatory design framework. It should be involve elder, family, friends, and this will encourage social inclusions as well. Also, this approach, based on the Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander definitions of mental health, incorporating spirituality, cultures, and healing, but not the Western and biomedical ways. Instead of focusing on the role of school, use of digital technology, particularly use of social media, is effective to promote mental health awareness, promote emotional support, and affirm their cultural identities. Social media benefit Aboriginal young Australians in two important ways. First, identity. Social media is an opportunity for young Aboriginal people to extend their identity online. They are sharing stories or videos and are part of Aboriginals' Facebook groups, where they can connect with, affirm, and give voice to their Aboriginals' identity. Second, this is culture. Social media is a good cultural fit for Aboriginals' young user because the multimedia medium match with the oral and visuals culture of Aboriginals' communities, rather than the Western-based literacy. Some Aboriginals leaders recognize that the interactions in social network are similar to Asian imageries and communication channel. This is a new way of passing on knowledge across generations. Social media also have some positive effect on mental health among the Aboriginal youth. The University of Missouri studies state that there is a link between Facebook use and depressions, and they also found that the people who use the platform mainly to connect with others do not experience the negative effects. There is also a compelling evidence that social medias can benefit people already dealing with mental health issues by helping them build online communities that provide a source of emotional support. It is undeniable that online technologies can be used to reach the most vulnerable in society, as well as helping to reduce the stigma attached to seeking treatments.
Here are some recommendations for future services. First, Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people need access to culturally sensitive and age-appropriate mental health services that are close to their homes. Second, intergenerational disadvantage must also be addressed as a priority with the efforts led by Aboriginal elders and communities. Third, addressing low levels of social and emotional well-being requires holistic policies and services which empower and increase the capacity of community, family, and individuals to support recovery and resilience. Further, these solutions must be driven by Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander leaders, elders, and communities.